I recently got my private pilot certificate, and before starting on this journey, the first question that I had, and the first question that most people have, is how much is this going to cost me? How long is it going to take? And what can I do to make it a little bit cheaper? So let's have a look at my real world numbers and give you an idea of where to set your financial expectations. This question is asked constantly, but for good reason. If there was an easy answer, I wouldn't have to make this video. Flight training has an infinite number of variables depending on not only on what plane you fly and where you live, but more importantly, how you learn and perform as a pilot. I'm going to speak to my own actual cost, but no two pilots you meet are going to have paid the exact same amount. I went through a Part 61 flight school, and there's pros and cons to Part 61 versus 141, and many articles that'll outline the differences between the two. But more generally speaking, a 141 school is a bit more structured in their approach, and some, such as Aviation Adventures, don't require an FAA DPE to perform a check ride at the end of your training. This confuses some people and makes them feel like they might receive their private pilot in a specific number of hours, but that is not at all the case. While it is possible to complete your training at 35 hours with a 141 school, I don't personally know of anyone who has done so. Do not plan your budget on completing your training in a specific number of hours. You're probably going to run out of funds and have to put your training on pause and end up spending a lot more money in the long run because you weren't able to fly consistently. So let's get into the numbers. I live in the Northern Virginia, DC metro area, so rental plane prices are a little bit higher than a lot of the country, and I only flew G1000 and G3X equipped Cessna 172s. When I took my first flight in the G3X equipped 172R, it was $160 an hour, and my CFI was $75 an hour. By the time I completed my training 13 months later, the prices had risen to in the same plane, was now $180 an hour, and the CFI was $80 an hour. Price of fuel changes, the wages that they're paying to the CFI went up. That's all good things, whatever. Including my final DPE check ride, I rented for a total of 49.9 hours or $8,953. I paid for a total of 60.6 hours of CFI time, which includes any ground instruction, pre-flight, post-flight planning, etc. If you go in and they just, teaching you anything that isn't inside of the airplane, you're paying for their time. Some people have to pay while they're flying solo for their person to sit on the ground and just watch them, track them, listen to them. Thankfully, I did not have to do that. If I did have to do that, it would have been another 10 hours, so about $800 more of CFI time. So my CFI total was $4,720 plus the $700 flat fee for the DPE check ride. So totaling both of those together, you get a total of $14,373. Doesn't sound too bad. But there are a couple other things that we haven't calculated yet. I had to purchase a FAR AIM book, which is $25, the VFR sectional charts, $15 or so. A headset I paid $380 for. Obviously, you can go up or down with that. A knee board for $25. I bought an iPad mini for $650. I had a subscription to ForeFlight, $120. My online ground school, I went through King School. That was $280. My medical exam was $120. That's obviously a necessity. My written exam, another necessity, $175. So another $1,790. In all, when I walked out of the building for the last time with my temporary airman certificate in hand, I spent a total of $16,163. It took me a total of 38 lessons over a course of 13 months to get to that point. So what could I have done to bring that price even lower? As I mentioned before, I live in the DC metro area, so plane rentals are on the higher end of the spectrum, but still I could have opted to fly a cheaper airplane. I could have flown a Piper Archer for $160 an hour, which would have lowered my price by about $970. If I had grown up in an aviator family and maybe could fly my parents' plane at just cost of fuel, that $8,953 could have been about $500 in fuel. Fly consistently. If you are able to have a consistent schedule with your training, you're much more likely to retain that information. I took a 4-month break right in the middle of training over the summer and had to backtrack a bit when I returned. I probably added, a couple hours onto my training just because I skipped a few months. While I think it makes planning your flights significantly cheaper, you need to know how to use paper charts. So buying an iPad in ForeFlight is not a necessity. There's also other ground schools available and plenty of free practice exams if you're really willing to diligently study on your own. If you like to study with a partner, I'm sure your school will gladly put you in contact with another student that's at the same stage as you to study together, do flashcards, all that stuff, if that's something that helps you learn. If there is one piece of advice that I can give you to lower your overall costs during flight training, that would be to join a club or a group of pilots in your area. The number of doors that this will open is infinite. I've been a part of the Smokehouse Pilots Club since before I took my Discovery flight in 2021, and I have stayed consistently active as a member ever since. Not only are the monthly flyouts a ton of fun, but they also organize monthly speakers to come give presentations on topics that might save your life one day. Everyone speaks to each other with respect, and we're all willing to share knowledge and often offer up a passenger seat to somebody who otherwise wouldn't be able to get up in the air. Being around other aviators and having an open ear to learn and soak in information will take you a lot further than silently sitting down with your nose stuck in a book. So there you have it. That's the $16,163 that it took me to get my temporary airman certificate. Hopefully the other one comes in the mail soon. It's been a couple months now. If anybody has any advice or any other students that want to connect with others in the comments, go ahead and leave a comment and see if you can find somebody else that's at the same stage as you. If you have any ideas on paying for school, for getting scholarships, anything like that, leave that in the comments, because I that's one thing I don't know. And again, I encourage you to come join us at the Smokehouse Pilots Club. Just find us on Facebook, completely free. Again, join into the conversations. I'm sure there's somebody in your area that's part of the group. It's a massive group, and we hope to see you out there sometime.